Good morning. Welcome to Texas Lone Wolf. Let's take a good look at this, shall we? Because of what we are seeing right in front of us. You know, here's a scripture in the book of Revelation, chapter 6, verses 6. All right, I heard a voice in the midst of the four beasts saying, a measure of wheat for a penny, 3 measures of barley for a penny, and see if thou hurt not the oil and the wine. This is one of the Bible prophecies predicting that it's going to cost everything for a loaf of bread. Everything is going to cost you a lot of money to buy things that you really want. I remember back when I graduated high school. All right? I remember back in the day when I graduated high school, you can get a gallon of milk for roughly $1 and something a gallon. To get the best one, you have to spend $6 a gallon. So why the price increase? What is going on? What is the government not telling us? See, the government is controlled by the foreign entity. They got their fingers tied on all our people that we put in office through voting for them. Sometimes the deep state and the government installs people against our will. All right? Now, what does this have to do with the housing market? What you may ask. What does this have to do with the housing market? Well, I'm going to tell you everything. And here's my prediction. Now, you mark my words. 24 and beyond. We have a land price bubble, housing price bubble. Right now, the market is so hot. The bubble is about to bust. And when it does bust, there are probably going to be bank runs. People going to run and get their cash out of the bank like it was in the Depression era in 1929. They had a bank run. Many banks failed. What do you think the Great Depression of the millennia is going to look like? It's going to look like nothing we have never seen before. Oh, people don't... You know, we had a crash in 2007. We almost had a crash in 2004 when 9/11 hit. Yeah, you see? People run to the bank, get their money, and a lot of politicians in the office said, oh, please don't go get your money. It's safe. It's all right. It's all right. A lot of people were buying stuff because of an emergency. Of course, 2020, people had to work from home because of an emergency called COVID. Some people don't believe in that. Some people believe in that. All right? Now, what does this have to do with the housing market? What you may ask. What does this have to do? Well, I'm going to tell you this. It's going to have a lot to do with the housing market. Today's generation lacks ambition to better themselves. The 20-year-olds are focusing on getting high, smoking, living in mommy's and daddy's house. We have a lot of tractor rig operators that are up in age, ready to retire. All right? What does this have to do with this? A lot. Look, I'm not spilling doom and gloom here, okay? But what I'm telling you is, when these truck drivers retire, food and stuff ain't going to get to the shelf by themselves. Just about everything in a grocery store has been delivered by a semi-truck. Just about everything you could think of has been delivered by a semi. And some of these truck drivers are up in age, ready to retire. You know, when they retire, who's going to take their place? Everybody's got their hand out wanting premium pay, but don't want to work. What's wrong with this picture? Then turn around. Okay, you ready for this? Then turn around. We have people wanting to get the premium payment for an hour with no experience. Oh, I'm worth $20 an hour for this. I'm worth $17 an hour. Many employers are actually looking for the best employees to hire. And those that ask for a lot of money per hour, they actually or ignoring the application, and you never hear from them. Why is that? Listen to me, viewers. You have to build yourself up from ground up. You have to show the employer you are willing to work. I know. You're over here asking random employees how much they make an hour. It's none of your damn business. Okay. You're going to say it's your business. Well, let me tell you something. Do they put food on your table? Do they pay your payments? Do they buy your gas? Do they buy your medicine? Do they pay for your toiletries? Do they buy your clothes? Do they buy your stuff that you need? If the answer is no, there you got it. God help us when we get a generation ahead of us coming to early adulthood. Most likely they'll hand the country over to a form of government that is tyrannical. It's happening, folks. Now we're going to go ahead and take this image down. And we're going to focus on, there's an article that I have posted up here. You know, why can't you find a home for sale? Okay, you got to factor in, you got to prove how much you can make. You can make a payment. Of course, the wages are stagnating. The banks raised the mortgage rate so high you can't hardly afford it. What does that translate to? Look at all this. Look. Let me show you this. Here, let me blow this up. All right. Affordability is worsening across the country thanks to spike both home prices and mortgage rates.
Let's shift gears here and talk about the home builder situation
Reynolds,
and the homeowner situation.
Right
Previously owned homes sold at the slowest pace since January.
We're not talking. We're discussing
existing home sales fell
homes that are vacant.
year over year in August.
Banks want more money to finance the homes for so many years span.
Housing market.
They want that. Look at this. There were 337,679 property foreclosure filing in September, up 11%. Previous month, 18% from 2022. Although foreclosures on the rise, they remain well below levels recorded during the 2008 financial crisis. The crisis coming up is going to be a lot worse than this. So what is this tied to? How the problem may soon get worse thanks to resumption of student loan payments. Not only you have to get a mortgage rate, you have to get insurance coverage to cover the home in case of an unforeseen disaster. Unforeseen events such as fires, tsunamis, storms. You think about it. So look at this. A recent poll conducted by Postnomics found that most economists said home ownership rates will be affected for at least a year by resumption of student loan payments. Many predict the impact could be longer than that. Housing shortages only boost consumer demand, which keep prices uncomfortably high. Supply and demand. I don't like this. You know what? Not say I don't blame you. And look at this. More than 75% of the survey respondents said that payments will have a negative effect on home ownership for the last year or more. 40% even longer impact of at least 3 years. On top of that, many economists believe the resumption of payments significantly hit U.S. homeowner rate nearly 1/4. It will cause an uptick in the delinquency rate. So, before the COVID pandemic, people were buying homes left and right. The housing market was real good. Now, the prices, the foreclosure is going up. People can't afford their homes. Banks are coming in and kicking everybody out. About 44 million borrowers in the U.S. are affected by payment pause, which initially began March 2020 at the onset of COVID-19 pandemic. Let me tell you what, this housing bubble right here is going to be worse ahead in 2020 plus year, in one of those years. It's fixing to pop. So you think the housing market's going to crash? Take a good look at the land prices. Oh, land prices going up. Oh, everything's going up. Well, yeah, I know it is. The local municipalities are capitalizing in on their tax collection. What's going to happen when wealthy people buy up the properties? Turn around, they get a little loophole. They avoid taxes. The municipality is going to be, or the county is going to be at the mercy of these rich folks. Think about it. It's coming. Collectively, borrowers are resume paying about $10 billion a month, according to analysts from J.P. Morgan Chase. The potential hit already in precarious time for the housing market, thanks to the astronomical rise in mortgage rates over the past year. In fact, housing affordability is worse today than the peak of the 2008 housing bubble. So Payman said, of course, in quote, nationwide foreclosure said about the time there's going to be little inventory, just wait till the next 3 years. All right? Wait till the next 3 years will come make up for it when the government payments and moratoriums lift. The market will be flooded. We'll see the start as the economy moves down, interest rate higher. It will only get worse. Do you know what that's spelling? Can I tell you what that's spelling? Economic collapse. He posted this October the 17th of this year. Oh, Dr. Petey said, soon followed by World War III. Are you paying attention yet? People got their eyes glued on the flat screen TVs and they're not being told what is happening. Foreclosures are rising on a Yahoo Finance. Here's what the experts say means for the housing market. All right? The Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac is a program through the government to help people afford homes. In other words, the government makes partial payment, then the homeowner makes the rest of the payment. And look at this. You ever heard of a word underwater? Have you ever heard the word underwater? Let me tell you what underwater is. Underwater is where, if you still, let's say you finance your home at $250,000. All right? You sign a contract with the bank to make payments to the bank. You turn around and you sell your home, you are getting back $75,000. So I'm going to go ahead and open my calculator and I'm going to figure out how much loss you had to take. I said $250,000. So you get back what, $75,000? You're in the hole $175,000. You're in the hole. Yo, where's that $175,000 going to come from? An average Joe doesn't have the money to pay that. You see that? So let's go ahead and read this. Have you been looking around for a market and thinking, there goes the neighborhood? Well, you're not alone. In May of this year, Adam recorded a sharp uptick in foreclosure rates around the United States, adding up notices of default, repossession by banks, auction on the calendar. U.S. foreclosure market report found 35,196 American properties with foreclosure filings. Foreclosure is never a good sign. Back in 2008, 2009, it was a dark symbol of a great recession. 24 and beyond, it's going to get worse. Current data show that 7% increase from April, twice as much from 2022, 14% comparison. Taking into account foreclosure means analysts use data to predict real estate trend going forward. It's not looking good. Gold Bank and Rake spoke with some real estate experts to find out why foreclosures were rising and what they think will happen next. I tell you what's going to happen next. The banks and the local municipalities are going to auction off the property to the highest bidder, or it's going to put a strain on the economy. Why foreclosures now? Okay, well, talking of another recession been going on for a better part of 2 years. Does this spike it's taking another one? Yes, it does. I'm telling you, it does. If so, why now? The main factor, but the one that's been low around since COVID-19. The lifting of COVID-19 related moratoriums has finally unclogged the pipeline of distressed properties. And those people choose to take advantage of a program where they could not pay their mortgage, put their payments on back end of the loan. You know what? That's a balloon payment right there, my friends. Or faced with homes whose price leveling out find themselves underwater. As I told you, if you finance a $250,000 house for so many years, the value of that house drops. You turn around and you put it up for sale. Nobody has the money to buy your house, except they had $75,000. Well, the realtor caves in and sells the house, then you're short $175,000. Where's that money going to come from to pay that bank back? Nowhere's. So yes, look at this. Look at this. This was posted this year. Nobody puts house on market because it's fun. It's not just because it's fun, not just sell. They put them on the market because they have no choice. Divorce, forced move jobs, job loss of one spouse, illness, job opportunities, loss of jobs, not enough income to pay maintenance, taxes, etc. They're delaying the inevitable as much as they can. Inevitable just around the corner. Do you see where that is headed? The inevitable is coming soon. Look at this. Predominantly Democratic Republican states. Look at this. Look at this. 2010, 2011, everybody went to, they had a foreclosure filings. Folks, let me tell you this. They are manipulating the markets, the stock market. They're manipulating it. The market itself will revolt against the manipulators. Some people will lose everything and some people will gain everything. Don't tell you I didn't tell you so. Look at this. I'm gonna go ahead and let you see in 2007 to complete foreclosure was less in 2007. I mean, Texas has about 7,000 property with filings. Did you know that? 1,515 average foreclosure rate. Look at this. They're sitting at 8.2 upward. In 2022, 14.45%. This is getting worse. Look at the data here. This is getting worse. This is getting worse, y'all. Look at this. Foreclosure rates of all 50 states, October 20. So this is going to tell you you got 50 states being affected. Look at this. Look at this, the 50 states right here. Lone Star State withstood 3,176 foreclosures in October. One every 3,607 households. And that's put the most populous state in the U.S. with a whopping 11,433,880 housing units into 12th place. So, the counties with the most foreclosure per housing unit with the highest to lowest: Liberty, Carson, Atascosa, Childress, and Matagorda in Texas. That's from the highest to the lowest. Wow. Nora Epstein contributed to this report. This is a 16-minute read. I got this in the description. Of course, this is reported by Adam. This is not looking good, y'all. Bank repossession decreased nationwide. They're not telling you everything. Instead, it's opposite from this. It's going up. It's going up. They're watering down the fears and stuff. I'm telling you the truth, what is happening. I'm going to tell you the truth on what's happening. The stock market traders are manipulating the market. And the market's overheating. And I'm telling you, you ever seen the United States go from a land of the free with home ownership, where people own their homes and actually paid affordable taxes? You're fixing to see USA go to the land of the renting by its own people, being at the mercy of the landlords. Don't say I didn't tell you so. Oh, one more thing? You think you got problems now? Wait till the landlords start taking advantage of tenants. Even though there's a law protecting the tenants, do you have to file a police report? You got to do investigations. Sometimes the landlord will play innocent and escape the charges filed against them. Personally, I've seen this happen in person. I have been gaslit by a landlord before. It don't feel good. But I'm going to tell you up front, and this is to everyone who works. If you don't apply yourself and build up your income portfolio, you're going to be renting from a greedy landlord. So, an attorney wrote this. I don't know how much they know. But look at this. Adams has 24,237 properties had foreclosure filings 2022, up 115% from 2021. Foreclosure numbers continue to rise in 2023, approaching pre-pandemic levels. Let me tell you who did the inflation. The people in the government offices instituted this to finance pork barrel spending. Did you get it? In the past couple of years, home prices climbed to record levels similar to the market peak of 2006, which preceded the last real estate bubble burst. No, this bubble burst that's coming up beyond this 2023 year is going to be worse than this. I'm telling you, folks, this is not looking good. And this is a foreclosure lawyer. And I'm telling you, this is from a NOLO. This is an attorney website. Look at this. Foreclosure up, but is housing market head for a crash? I gotta tell you, yes, it is. Many people have underestimated the divine of the universe on his, commands to help one another. It's going to get worse, folks. This is only the starting point. All right? So we're going to go ahead and pause for a little bit. I'm going to pick up some more on this. And I'm going to play you some videos to help you see what's coming. All right? I'm going to be right back. All right, I'm back. I had to go get me some coffee and talk more about this. All right? So, 3% previous quarter, 29% year over year. All right, housing downturn. Home seller profits at 2-year low, report says. Nobody's making money on this. And equity in the homeowners, they lost their equity. Buyer burnout. You raise the prices of the home up, the buyer can't afford to make payments, they walk away. Guess what? You know, anything with the word black in it, beware. They're buying up these, they're coming in and scooping up these properties and renting them out. Then the crime rate goes up. Yeah, Black Rock. Yeah, Blackstone, Black Knight. They're all related to each other. They're part of the same corporation. Going out buying homes. So look at this. Pricing that, right here. Home equity remains high despite recent price declines. It's supposed to be an investment. But see, some people that bought their home before 2022, they should have equity. So you know what? It is what it is. And I'm telling you, it's going to get a lot worse before it gets better. So, all right. Now, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to play you some TikTok video. All right? I'm going to find it real quick. All right? I'm going to find you some video source, all right? Just give me a moment. So
the housing market and the stock market are
let me,
absolutely
go
going to
ahead
crash.
and
There is no
straighten
doubt
this
about
out.
it. It is just simply a question of when. The media would love to have you believe that it is now, but as usual, if you listen to the media, you are going to...
Let me back this up and let me show you what he's talking about. Here, let me pause my microphone.
The housing market and the stock market are absolutely going to crash. There is no doubt about it. It is just simply a question of when. The media would love to have you believe that it is now, but as usual, if you listen to the media, you are going to miss out on the greatest opportunities. If we look at history, it helps us forecast the future. And fortunately for us, history has been rather repetitive. Over the past 200 years, every 18.6 years on average, we have had our big crashes. If we look at the GFC, that is what we consider one of the big crashes. That was a land-driven crash. And that is the crucial difference, is it needs to be land-driven. The underlying asset of land needs to fall below the value of the debt that is held over the land. Are we there yet? No, we're nowhere near it. And especially with the governments all over the world pumping money into the economies and huge infrastructure projects beginning, there is far too much money around and being pushed into the economy to allow for this to happen. Is it coming? Absolutely. Do you need to prepare? Absolutely. If you don't and you're at max debt when it comes, and it is coming, then you will not survive.
Whoa, whoa. New homeowners lose $122,000 as housing prices drop. Yeah, they're talking about in 15 major market areas. Prices are falling and falling fast. Yes, and some are losing up to $122,000 in equity like that. Yes, it's not. I know what the mainstream media tells you. I know what you read constantly. I see some of the stuff. I see the same stuff you do. But they're not telling you the whole story. Right now, houses across the country are rapidly dropping in price. And nobody's talking about it. Everybody's talking about the article, well, next year they say it's going to go up 4%. Next year they say it's going to do this. Next year they say it's going to... And then they revise. What's going on right now is across the country in 15 major markets, people that bought recently are underwater. Underwater meaning if they sold today, they would be pulling money out of their pocket. They are losing money. Yeah, I know some of you bought 5 years ago and you're going, it doesn't affect me. We're not talking to you. We're talking to people that bought recently and already they are underwater. A lot more to talk about here. Like and follow. I'm going to tell you more in the upcoming weeks.
The U.S. housing market has now reached a new record all-time high. So I want to show you this. So take a look for yourself. This is the Black Knight's Home Price Index. As I explained before, the housing market crash was fake news. The U.S. housing market has now reached a valuation of $47 trillion. So this is higher than the previous peak of $46 trillion back in 2022. All right, now I want to share with you the current stats. The previous high for home prices was in June of 2022. Right now, home prices are 0.4% higher than that time. Year over year, home prices are up 3.2%. And this is the biggest increase in the past 8 months. So home prices are actually accelerating upwards. So now, not only are they going up, but they're going up faster. The number of homes for sale has fallen. It has fallen 15% year over year. So keep that in mind, because this is going to be very important for the rest of this discussion. Before we go any further, I have to say this. Otherwise, you already know. It's going to be a circus in the comments down below, and we don't want that. So this is what I want to say. I know and I understand that in certain cities, home prices are down. But going forward for the rest of this video, I'm referring to the national average. So national averages. So just think about it logically. if you want to say in the comments down below that home prices are down 20% in your area, that's fine, that's great. But I just want you to know, if home prices are down 20% in your area, then somewhere else, they're probably up 21%. And if you say, okay, Brian, but in my area, they're down 40%. Home prices are down 40%. Listen, it's the same thing. If they're down 40% in your area, then somewhere else, they're up 42%. You can't one-up the situation. This is how math and statistics work. Now let's move on. So here's why we did not get a housing market crash. At the end of the day, home prices are dictated by supply and demand. So if you want a housing market crash, then you need more selling pressure than there is buying pressure. One way to achieve a housing market crash is to have more distressed sellers. But sellers right now, they're far from distressed. It's the complete opposite. We have a lack of sellers. Basically, if you want a housing market crash, then we need more stress out there. If you're already stressed, well, we have to take it to the next level because that's what's necessary. There has to be more stress so that Americans will sell their homes and then add to the supply side of the equation. That's how you get a housing market crash. And that's not coming from foreclosures. That's not coming from adjustable rate mortgages. And that's not coming from ninja loans because compared to the last housing market crash, those are at much lesser levels. And I would say don't rely on a severe recession because the Federal Reserve, their money printers are on standby. That's probably not shocking. I want you to understand this. This is so important. The biggest reason why people don't want to sell their homes right now is because of their mortgage interest rates. People feel like they're locked in, and I'll explain that. I want you to see this. So this chart shows the interest rates on current mortgages. Right now, the 30-year fixed mortgage interest rate is around 7%. However, 92% of homeowners with mortgages have an interest rate of 6% or less. An interest rate of 5% or less, 82%. An interest rate of 4% or less, 62%. An interest rate of 3% or less, 23%. So listen, those are the stats. 62% of mortgage holders have an interest rate of 4% or lower. So that is probably a lot of people watching this video right now. So why would someone with a mortgage interest rate of 4% want to sell their home right now, lose money on commission, go through the stress of moving and borrow money at 7% to look for a home in a market where there's slim pickings? Remember that there's a lack of inventory. So you wouldn't put yourself through that torture unless you really had to, unless it was necessary. And they're coining the situation as the lock-in effect. So people are feeling locked in to their low interest rates and they don't want to sell their home right now. And there are less sellers, and this is translating to less supply. So this is not a good ingredient for a housing market crash. And if you think, okay, Brian, but if interest rates fall, let's just say to 4%, then there's going to be a flood of sellers because the lock-in effect will be no more. No, that's not how it works. If mortgage interest rates fall to 4%, then think about the pent-up demand. There's going to be so much more buying pressure. So as interest rates fall, more buyers will step in. And then there's going to be more demand to offset the increase in supply. So there's going to be an equilibrium. Now, I want to point this out to you. Just look at the
All right, guys, so here we go. The 2024 housing market forecast. Is there a crash coming? Let's take a look. And that would be a no. Home prices are expected to keep rising. By average for 2024, I think it's a little bit low actually, of 1.5% on average. And this is going with all the forecasts across all the experts.
Housing market has crashed. At least it will. How is that going to affect you? Well, not really, because all the rich people are going to buy up all the houses. And this is going to affect you because they dictate our rent and how much they sell those houses for. So when it does crash, get in, buy as much as you can, get ready for it to go up, and wait for the next crash.
Now, folks, you've seen it, all those videos I posted. Now, there's no laughing matter, but God help us all. when the stuff hits a fan and splatters. And the money that we use lost its purchasing power. The invisible hand that controls the money is behind the scenes. From the banks, from the corporations, you name it. They own the Federal Reserve here in the United States. The dollar itself has lost its purchasing power. It used to be a dollar for a dollar. Now a dollar bill is worth no more than 25 cents. It lost its buying power. Cash has lost its buying power. You go across the street and hand somebody a dollar, they're going to look at you. What am I going to do with this dollar? It ain't worth hardly anything. You hand them a $10, they're going to say, I don't want that. That ain't worth nothing. You maybe give them a $20. I'll probably take that. That'll probably give me a little something to eat and so on. Used to $20 would fill a basket full of groceries. Now you can get barely 3 or 4 items for $20. That's how expensive grocery prices have climbed. And you know what? It's going to get worse. God help us all. You're going to need this. All right. Anyways, I don't know what you think about this. But remember, what goes up must come down. That's the law of Isaac Newton. What goes up must come down. Trust me. The markets around the world are intertwined with each other. Remember, if the United States fall head first, the countries around the world are going to follow suit. So somehow the central banks are intertwined or connected with each other. But like I said, if USA falls, all the other countries are going to follow suit. Now mark my words, it's not a matter of what will happen, how it would happen, where it would happen, but it's a matter of when. Now, pre-plan ahead, stop buying junk that is not going to help you gain money. Double your bill payments because your life is going to depend on this. Double up your finances on your utilities. Your life is going to depend on this. Double up on your rent. Your life is going to depend on this. And pretty soon, this Great Depression is going to hit everybody in the backside so hard they're not going to be able to tell which hole they're going to take a restroom break out of. It's not a matter of when, but it's a matter of when it's going to come. God help us all. Peace.